The mysterious gift box. It was almost midnight in the small town of Fairview. The streets were empty and the air was cold. Ethan, a quiet young mechanic, was closing his workshop. He turned off the lights, locked the door, and started walking toward his small house behind the garage. As he reached the back door, something strange caught his eye. A large silver box was sitting near the steps. It was not there before. It was smooth and shining, with no labels, no buttons, and no seams. It looked like it was not made on Earth. A soft blue light glowed from its base, and it hummed gently, as if alive. Ethan stepped back. He had seen alien tech before. During the short but intense galactic war, he had once helped repair a damaged alien ship. That was 5 years ago. Since then, he had no contact with anyone from outside Earth. But this box, this gift, had a strange energy around it. He hesitated, then reached out and touched the surface. It was warm. As soon as his hand made contact, the box clicked and a soft hiss came from the top. The metal folded away like liquid and a clear dome rose up. Inside was a girl. An alien girl. She was curled up like she was sleeping. Pale violet skin, soft white hair that floated gently around her head, and silver tattoos that moved slightly across her arms and neck. Her dress was simple but strange, made from a material that shimmered with each breath she took. Ethan stared at her, not knowing what to do. Was she alive? Was this some kind of trap? Then, just as he reached closer, her eyes opened. Bright blue eyes, glowing softly, locked onto his. She sat up slowly, stretched her arms, and looked around. Her voice was calm but confused. "Are you my new master?" Ethan blinked. "What? No, I didn't order you." "I didn't ask for this. Who are you?" The girl tilted her head. "I am Relina, servant class unit of House Vorax, gifted to the human hero known as Ethan Dyer as a token of honor from Baron Vorax. My records confirm this location as your residence." Ethan took a step back. The name hit him like thunder. Vorax, the Baron, was a powerful alien leader he had once saved during a space battle. He had forgotten about it. Back then, it was just a lucky repair job, but clearly, it meant something more to the Baron. Relina looked around again, now noticing Earth's sky, the trees, the cold air. She rubbed her arms and shivered. "It is colder than I expected," she whispered. Then she looked at Ethan. "Do you not accept me?" Ethan was silent. This was too strange, too sudden. He looked back at the glowing box. Inside it, something blinked. He reached in and found a small device like a metal coin. It lit up and showed a floating message in the air. A message from Baron Vorax. "To the human who saved my life, I offer this companion, created and trained to serve, protect, and understand your kind. Treat her with care. She is more than she seems." The message vanished. Ethan looked at Relina again. Her expression was soft, but her eyes were scanning everything. She was curious. She was learning. And she looked very real, very alive. He finally spoke. "All right. You can come in, but I don't know what any of this means. So don't expect me to give orders or act like some alien king." Relina smiled, gently stepped out of the box, and stood beside him. Her body moved with grace, her steps light like feathers. As they entered the house, she touched the wall, the light switch, the table, each thing with wonder. "This world is beautiful," she said, almost to herself. Ethan brought her a blanket and offered her the couch. She sat, wrapping herself tightly, eyes still wide with wonder. Then she asked, "Is it true that humans can love freely, without permission?" Ethan raised his eyebrow. "Of course. Why?" She looked down. "Because I don't think I've ever been allowed to feel that way." "Maybe. That is why I was sent here." Ethan watched her closely. Something about her was strange. Not just her looks or the way she spoke, but something deeper. Like she was made for more than what she said. That night, as Ethan went to bed, Relina stayed awake, staring at the stars through the window. She softly traced the symbol on her neck. A faint light glowed from it, and she whispered something in a language unknown to Earth. A signal pulsed across the galaxy. Silent, hidden, and deadly dot far away, something received it and woke up. Asterisk. She doesn't know she's a gift. Morning sunlight broke through the window, touching Relina's face with golden warmth. She didn't move. Her eyes were open, already staring at the ceiling. All night, she hadn't blinked much, just watched. And listened. Machines didn't sleep, but she didn't feel like one, not anymore. In the kitchen, Ethan made toast. He was still trying to figure out what to do. A beautiful alien girl in his house, gifted like a pet or tool, and she acted like everything was normal. She hadn't asked for food. She hadn't complained. She only asked questions strange ones. What is your favorite smell? She had asked earlier, what does sadness feel like? Now she sat quietly on the couch, watching him butter his toast. Her head tilted again, just like last night. Curious, not threatening, like a child. Trying to understand a new world, Ethan walked over and offered her a piece of toast. She sniffed it, then bit the corner, chewing slowly. It's dry, she said, then smiled as if it was a good thing. Dry means safe. Nothing hidden inside. That reply made Ethan pause. Did someone use to hide things in your food? Relina looked at him, puzzled. I don't know. I feel like I remember something. A flash of metal, sharp lights, then silence. And then I was waking up here. She didn't remember how she got in the box. She didn't even know she had been gifted. Her voice was soft when she spoke, but something inside her words felt off, like she was reciting answers given to her long ago. Do you feel okay? Ethan asked, sitting across from her. I feel strange, she replied, placing her hand over her chest, like I'm dreaming with my eyes open. Things around me seem real, but inside it's cloudy. I don't know what's real anymore. Ethan nodded slowly. You don't sound like someone trained to serve. You sound human. Her eyes lit up. Is that good? Before Ethan could reply, his workshop alarm buzzed outside. He stood quickly, walked to the window, and scanned the yard. Nothing. No movement. No cars. The air felt heavier now than he saw it. A small silver drone hovering near the fence, watching silently. Not from Earth. Its smooth body and humming wings meant alien tech. It zipped away the moment he stepped out. He returned inside, locking the door behind him. Relina stood waiting, her eyes calm. You saw it too? Ethan asked. Yes, she said. But it didn't come for you. It came for me. Ethan leaned against the wall, confused and angry. You said you didn't remember anything, but now you know it was watching you? She looked down. I don't remember with my mind. But my body reacts before I think. My muscles tighten. My eyes focus. My heartbeat slows. I think I was made to run. Or fight. Ethan didn't speak. The silence between them grew heavier. Relina stepped closer and whispered, I'm not sure if I was born or built. She gently lifted the sleeve of her arm. Under her skin, a thin line pulsed with blue light, not a tattoo, a living circuit. Ethan took a step back, stunned. You're not just an alien girl, he said. You're part machine, she nodded. But I feel everything. The warmth, the pain, the fear. Doesn't that make me real? Before Ethan could respond, she touched her neck again, tracing the same mark she did last night. This time something new happened. A small image flashed in her eyes. A name, a file, then vanished. She blinked fast and gasped, holding her head. What did you see? Ethan asked. Nothing clear, she whispered. But I heard a voice say, Protocol 3 remains active. Ethan grabbed the coin-shaped device the Baron had left in the box. He hadn't touched it since last night. Now he pressed it again. A different message appeared. If she activates Protocol 3 without full bonding, she will become unstable. Stay close to her. Her memories must return slowly. If forced, the weapon inside may wake before the girl does. The message ended. Ethan stared at Relina. She stood still, her eyes locked on his. I don't want to hurt anyone, she said. But something is waking inside me, and I don't know how to stop it. That night, while Ethan watched her sleep on the couch, he noticed something strange on her wrist, a symbol glowing softly, not alien, but human military code, and it was his own old service number. He didn't tell her, not yet, because now, the question had changed. She wasn't just a gift. She might be a message or a warning, and someone somewhere wanted that message erased. The Baron's hidden plan. The rain was heavy that night, hitting the roof like falling nails. Inside the workshop, Ethan stared at the glowing coin-shaped device again, turning it slowly in his hand. It hadn't lit up since yesterday. Relina sat at the far end of the room, curled in a chair, watching him without blinking. She hadn't said much since the last glitch in her memory. Her smile was gone. Her movements were slower, controlled, like she was afraid of her own body. Ethan could see it. She was trying to stay calm, trying not to lose control. A low sound came from the table. The device lit up on its own, brighter than before. A hologram rose, not a message this time, but a full image. Baron Vorax himself, tall, proud, with sharp horns and golden armor. The Baron stood in silence for a few seconds before speaking. Ethan, Dyer of Earth, if this message reaches you, then the gift has awakened. Listen carefully. She is not just a servant. She is a vault, a living container built to protect a forbidden truth, one that even I am not allowed to keep anymore. Ethan's hands shook. Relina slowly stood up, staring at the Baron's face. Her lips trembled, as if she remembered him but couldn't trust the image. The Baron continued. She was never meant to love. She was never meant to learn. But I chose to send her to you because I saw something in you that others did not. You saved my ship, yes, but more than that, you showed mercy when no one else would. I had her memories sealed. But they are not gone. They sleep, hidden deep inside her, behind pain, behind code. If someone else wakes them first, they will not be gentle. The image flickered. Ethan stepped forward. What kind of truth is inside her? He shouted. What are you hiding? The Baron looked directly at him. Even though it was a recording, she remembers how the war started. The real reason, not the version they teach. And someone powerful wants that truth buried forever. You must protect her until she remembers who she is and why she matters. The message ended with a deep tone that rattled the floor. The device shut down and turned black. No longer responding, Ethan looked at Relina. Her hands were shaking. Her knees gave way and she fell to the floor, not from pain, but from memory. I remember standing on a ship, she whispered, with fire behind me and children screaming. I was not a warrior. I was a judge. Ethan stepped closer. Judge for what? She looked up at him, her eyes glowing now, not blue, but silver. I judged a planet guilty, she said, voice hollow. And I pressed the command that ended its sky. Outside, lightning cracked through the clouds. The lights inside the workshop blinked twice, then went out. The power was gone. Ethan grabbed a flashlight and pointed it toward the door. Shadow moved outside. He pulled Relina to her feet, but she didn't move. Her face had frozen, locked in old pain. I can't go back, she said. They'll take my memories again. I don't want to forget you. Ethan looked at her, confused. You just met me. She touched his chest gently. I remember your voice. Not from now, from before, maybe in a dream. Or maybe when I was dying. The door exploded inward, not with fire, but with pressure. Air twisted and folded as two black-cloaked figures stepped inside. They weren't human. They moved like glass snakes, smooth and quiet. Relina stood between them and Ethan. Her hands lifted, and from her arms, thin blue lines lit up. She didn't have a weapon, but something inside her awakened again. The first figure spoke without a mouth. "Return the package. This flesh does not belong to your species." Ethan grabbed a wrench, the closest thing he had. "She's not a package," he said. "She's a person." The second figure turned its head slowly. "Incorrect. She is a memory vessel, designed by order of the Galactic Tribunal. Her presence here is illegal." Relina stepped forward. "Then why am I afraid of you?" They didn't answer. She raised both arms. A sudden pulse of blue light burst from her chest, and the attackers flew back through the broken door, vanishing into the storm. Ethan stood frozen. The glow faded from her body, and she dropped to her knees again, gasping. "I didn't know I could do that," she whispered. "I think there's more in me. Much more. And if it wakes all at once, I might not be myself anymore." Ethan knelt beside her, putting a hand on her shoulder. "We'll find out the truth together," he said. "Even if it means going to the stars." Relina nodded slowly. But outside, in the far sky, a ship waited, one that had been tracking her since the day the box opened, and inside it, a voice said softly, "Protocol 4 will begin soon, *running." From the collectors, the road was empty, stretching across the desert like a long scar. The old truck bounced over cracked stones, its engine groaning under the weight of stolen fuel and two passengers who should not exist together. Ethan gripped the steering wheel, eyes locked on the endless path ahead. Behind them, the small town of Fairview was fading into smoke. The attackers had returned with more drones, more force, and fire that burned through metal like paper. Beside him, Relina stared at the sky. Her face was calm, but her fingers clenched the edge of the seat. She hadn't spoken since they escaped. The blast she had unleashed the night before left something behind, not just fear, but power, and now it was growing inside her. "I don't feel like myself anymore," she finally said, voice quiet. Ethan didn't take his eyes off the road. "You said you were made to protect something." "Maybe that's all it is," Relina shook her head. "It's more than that. I can sense signals in the air. I can hear languages I've never learned. And I feel something moving beneath my skin. Like old weapons waking up." The wind outside howled. A strange storm brewed in the distance, purple clouds rolling in faster than they should. Ethan kept driving. They had no map, no safe house, just a name given by the Baron, Vault Node 17, a place hidden deep in the desert, where Lena's original memories were locked away. Behind them, far above the clouds, a collector ship watched. It released 3 scout units, shaped like black feathers, falling silently through the sky. Relina turned her head sharply. "They're coming," she said. Ethan looked at her. "How do you know?" She touched her neck. "Because they're whispering my name." He pushed the truck harder, tires kicking up sand as they turned off the main road. They moved through rock fields toward a canyon that looked dead and forgotten. Relina closed her eyes and guided him without speaking. They reached a cliff wall. Nothing in sight. Just dry stone and shadows. Relina stepped out. She walked straight to the cliff and placed her hand on a flat stone. A click echoed through the air. The rock shimmered, then vanished like smoke, revealing a dark tunnel carved into the earth. Ethan grabbed the supplies. "This better be safe." Relina looked back. "It's not safe, but it's the only way forward." They entered the tunnel, led downward, cold and silent. Strange symbols glowed along the walls, reacting to Relina's presence. She walked faster. Now, like she had walked these halls before, then they reached it, a massive steel door, shaped like a star, Pulsing with low energy, she touched it. The door opened with a deep hum. Inside, the chamber looked untouched by time. Machines lined the walls, and in the center stood a glass capsule, empty, open, waiting. "This was where I was built," she whispered. "Or maybe where I was reborn." Ethan stepped beside her. "What happens now?" Relina walked to a control panel and placed her hand on it. A soft light scanned her skin. The screen lit up. Memory lock identified, partial release available warning. Emotional conflict detected. Ethan read the warning. "What does that mean?" Relina looked at him with sad eyes. "It means if I remember who I really was, I might stop being who I am now." He stepped closer. "So don't do it. We'll figure something else out." But Relina shook her head. "They'll keep chasing us. The collectors won't stop. And if they catch me before I remember, they'll reprogram me. I won't just lose myself. I'll become something dangerous." She activated the sequence. The chamber filled with light. Her body froze, eyes wide. Images flashed across the screens. Battles, worlds burning, a tribunal in chaos, and Relina standing before a room full of alien leaders, not as a servant, but as a judge. She had once sentenced an entire planet to be erased. She had once stood against the tribunal itself, and she had survived when the light faded. She dropped to her knees. Ethan rushed to her side. She looked up at him. "I remember now," she said. "I wasn't just sent here as a gift. I escaped." Ethan froze. "What?" Relina stood slowly. Her voice had changed, stronger, deeper. "The Baron didn't send me in kindness. He smuggled me out because I carry something inside me, a decision I was never supposed to make, a judgment I passed in secret, and now the tribunal wants to erase me because that secret could destroy them." Before Ethan could speak, alarms rang through the chamber. The collectors had arrived. Relina grabbed Ethan's hand. "If we stay, we die. But if we run now, we can make them chase the truth." They ran up through the tunnel, into the storm behind them. The vault door sealed, and somewhere in the sky, the tribunal finally realized the girl in the box had remembered everything. Memories from a previous life. The cave was silent, hidden beneath layers of dead stone and forgotten time. Ethan and Relina sat beside a small fire, surrounded by ancient walls and broken machines. They had been running for hours. Now they rested. But sleep did not come. Relina stared at the flames, her face glowing in the light. Something inside her had changed. She looked the same, but her eyes told a different story. A weight rested on her shoulders. Not fear, but truth. "I wasn't just a judge," she said softly. "I was a rebel." Ethan leaned forward, watching her closely. "I remember standing in front of a tribunal of 13, she continued. "They told me to approve the destruction of a colony. They said it was a threat. I looked into the records. The people there were peaceful, artists, children. No weapons. No army. Just a voice." She paused, fingers touching the mark on her neck. "I refused. I leaked the data. I helped them escape. I broke my code." Ethan stayed. Relina smiled without joy. "They called me a virus, said I had become too human. I didn't even know what that meant at the time. Now I think I do." She stood, walking to the corner of the cave where a strange pillar rose from the ground. Its surface looked like smooth stone, but when she touched it, it lit up. A voice spoke, her voice recorded long ago. "If you're hearing this, then I failed. They found me. I sent a message to the only person I trust, the human engineer who saved the Baron's ship. Maybe he's still alive. Maybe he can help me remember." Ethan stepped closer, stunned. "You sent this recording before I even knew you?" Relina nodded. "I don't remember doing it, but I know it's real. This was me before the box, before the memory lock. I planned my escape. I planned everything." The pillar glowed again, revealing more, a small holographic map, a series of safe zones hidden across Earth, each marked with a circle. Only one was still active, Zone 5. Deep Sky Listening Post. Ethan pointed to it. I've heard of that place. Old satellite array in the mountains. Government shut it down years ago, Relina smiled. That's where the rest of me is. Suddenly the fire dimmed. The air changed. Ethan turned, gripping a wrench. But it wasn't an enemy. A small floating orb hovered at the edge of the cave, blinking red, then blue. A message. Padrelina stepped forward. The orb opened, revealing a folded cloth and a crystal chip. The cloth was dark blue, stitched with silver stars. She unfolded it slowly. It was a child's drawing, a small alien girl with wings, standing beside a human man, under a tree with two suns. Relina gasped. This. This was drawn by one of the colony children. I remember her. Her name was Nira. She said she wanted to draw her dreams. I kept this in my pocket when I left. How did it find me again? Ethan took the chip and held it under the pillar's light. A new message played this time. It was Baron Vorax, but he looked different now. Wounded, older, his armor cracked. If you're alive, Relina, I hope you understand why I did what I did. I lied to the tribunal. I said I erased you. But I couldn't. Not after what you gave me. Not after what you risked to save those lives. So I hid you. I built the box. I erased parts of your memory. I sent you to Earth, to the only man I trusted. Because I knew he would never use you. He would protect you. And maybe help you feel human again. The message. Federalina stood frozen. Tears filled her eyes. Not because of pain, but because something inside her finally felt real. I wasn't just a gift, she said. I was a last chance. Not for me, but for truth. And now they know I remember. Ethan put a hand on her shoulder. Then we don't wait anymore. We go to that listening post. We unlock the rest of your memories. We finish what you started. Outside, the wind had changed. The storm was gone. But the sky was not clear. A fleet had entered Earth's orbit. Collectors were no longer searching. They were hunting, and Relina was no longer running. She was ready to fight. The choice between love and programming. The mountain road twisted like a serpent beneath their tires. The old truck climbed higher with every turn, growling against the cold wind. Snow had begun to fall. Not soft but sharp, stinging the windows like broken glass. Ethan's hands were tight on the steering wheel. Relina sat beside him, eyes closed, breathing slow. But she was not asleep. She was listening, not to the world, but to the war growing inside. Here a signal pulsed from the sky every few seconds. Not loud, not clear. But she felt it. A silent voice calling her name. In a language she once obeyed without question. It wasn't just a signal, it was a command. Protocol 4. She whispered. Ethan glanced at her. What is that? She opened her eyes, now glowing again. It's the last failsafe. If I remember too much, if I turn against the tribunal, the signal forces me to shut down, or worse, to switch sides. Ethan slammed the brakes. The truck skidded to a stop on the icy road. He turned toward her, angry and afraid. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Relina looked away. Because I didn't want you to look at me like that. Like I'm already gone. Ethan got out, slamming the door. Behind him, the snow crunched under his boots. He walked a few steps, then stopped. The cold didn't bite him, not as much as her words had. Relina stepped out slowly, wrapping his jacket around herself. She walked to him and stood in silence. Finally, she spoke. I wasn't supposed to feel anything. Not sorrow, not joy, not love, but I feel all of it now. And the more I feel, the weaker the signal becomes. That's why they're rushing to find me. Because they're losing control. Ethan turned, face softening. You feel love? Relina nodded once. Yes, I don't know what it's supposed to feel like. But when I think about you, I don't feel fear. I feel strong. Like I want to. Fight to stay this way. Not just for me. For us, he stepped closer. Then fight it. You're not a machine anymore. Not to me. She reached for his hand. Their fingers touched for a moment. The signal in her head went silent, but only for a moment. Then it returned, stronger, sharper. She dropped to her knees, gripping her head, teeth clenched in pain. Ethan grabbed her. Relina, stay with me. Don't let them take you. Her voice came out twisted. The programming. It's rewriting my choices. If I lose this moment, I won't be able to choose you again. He pulled her close. Then make the choice now, not with memory, with your heart. Right now, her eyes flashed white. Her body trembled. The snow around her melted from the heat rising inside her. Then, silence. Her breathing slowed. Her glow faded, and her hands unclenched. I chose you, she whispered. I forced the program to freeze. It's still there. But it's locked for now. Ethan helped her stand. Can you move? She nodded. We're close. The array is just ahead. That's where the rest of my code is hidden. If we reach it before the collectors do, I can erase the old programming. I can be free. They drove again soon. The mountain opened into a valley. The listening post stood in the center. Tall metal dishes, rusted buildings, snow-covered paths. Power still pulsed through a few wires. The system was alive. Just sleeping. They entered the main control room. Relina walked straight to the core terminal. She placed both hands on the surface. It lit up, scanning her completely. A deep voice echoed from the machine. Final lock detected. Emotional core identified. Release conditions met. Then came one final warning to erase the program. The unit must burn its root file. All combat protocols, memories of war, and tribunal training will be lost. Only organic emotions will remain. This action is permanent. Ethan stepped forward. What does that mean? Relina looked back at him. If I do this, I will forget how to fight. I will forget all alien tech. I will become just a girl. Maybe not even the same Relina you know now. Ethan took a breath. And if you don't do it, her voice was hollow, they'll trigger me. I'll turn into what they built. I might not recognize you. I might hurt you. Ethan reached out, holding her face gently. I'd rather meet a new Relina who's free than lose the one I have to a program. Her lips trembled. I'm afraid. What if I don't remember how to love you? He smiled. Then I'll help you fall in love with me again. One day at a time. She closed her eyes and said the word erase. Light burst from the terminal. Her body lifted off the floor. All the lines, all the circuits, all the code inside her, it flared like fire. Ethan shielded his eyes when it ended. She dropped gently to the floor. Her body was the same, but something inside her had changed. He could feel it. She opened her eyes. They were no longer glowing. I don't feel them anymore, she said. The voices, the commands, they're gone. Ethan knelt beside her. Who are you now? She touched his face. I'm still trying to remember ... but I know your name. And I know I want to stay close to it. But far above them, the collectors had arrived, and they were no longer sending signals. They were bringing war. The weapon who chose to be human. The sky cracked open above the mountains like glass breaking from the inside. A giant shadow moved through the clouds, black and sharp. The tribunal's command ship had arrived. Beneath it, a rain of fire. Followed collectors dropped in silence, hundreds of them, gliding like falling blades. The snow around the listening post melted in waves. Every machine in the old array screamed with warning. This was not a mission. This was an execution inside the tower. Ethan helped Relina stand. She looked different now. Her skin was warm, no longer glowing. Her heartbeat was steady. Her power was gone, but her eyes were calm. You don't have weapons. Anymore, Ethan said, holding her hand tight. I don't need weapons, she answered. I have my choice outside. The first wave of collectors surrounded the facility. They moved without sound. Red light burned in their eyes. They didn't speak. They didn't hesitate. They had one order: eliminate the anomaly. Relena stepped. Outside, the snow hissed beneath her bare feet. The wind whipped her hair around her face. The sky above her burned like war. The collectors paused. They had scanned her for energy, for signals, for code. What they found confused them. No trace of command. Program remained. No memory data from the war. No embedded protocol. She was no longer one of them. She had become something they could not process. Human One collector stepped forward and raised its arm. A blast of energy fired toward her chest. Ethan ran. He reached her just in time and wrapped himself around her body. The blast hit, but nothing happened. A wave of blue light exploded from Relena's skin. Not a weapon, not a shield. Something else entirely. A pulse of choice. Every collector froze. Their system shook. Their command scrambled inside their minds. Something had changed. Relena spoke without moving her lips, her voice inside the network. I release you. And the machines stopped one by one. Their weapons dropped to the snow. Their red eyes turned dim. They backed away like sleepwalkers. Waking from a long dream above them, the tribunal ship lit up, preparing to destroy everything. It had no mercy, no questions. It began charging its core weapon, a sun cannon capable of burning the mountain to ash. Ethan looked up. We can't stop that. Relena's voice was quiet. Maybe not with power, but maybe with a signal. She ran back inside the array and followed. She reached the old console and connected the last chip left in the vault. Her fingers danced across the controls. Static turned to sound. Sound turned to light. The tower's dish moved slowly, pointing toward the sky. What are you doing? Ethan asked. I'm sending the truth, she replied. Not just to Earth, to every system connected to the tribunal. I'm sending my memories, the secret judgment, the colony they tried to erase, the children they called threats, the lie they buried in me. Ethan stared at her. They'll never forgive you for this. I don't want forgiveness, she said. I want them to feel what I felt. I want them to know what they turned me into. I want them to know I chose to be more than a weapon. The sky outside shook. The tribunal ship stopped firing. The signal reached them then. Silence. The collectors disappeared into thin air, recalled and retreat. The sky cleared. The ship above turned without a word and left Earth's orbit. Ethan stepped outside and looked up. It was over. He turned to find Relena standing quietly. Eyes closed, she smiled. I thought I would feel empty without my power, she said. But I feel light instead. He took her hand. You saved the planet. She shook her head gently. We saved each other. They walked together back down the mountain. The snow had stopped. Spring would come soon behind them. The listening post still stood, quiet and strong, a monument to a girl who had been built for war but chose love.